For years, Selena Gomez looked almost impossible to dislike. She was the Disney Channel star who grew up alongside an entire generation, turned herself into a chart-topping pop artist, built one of the biggest celebrity beauty brands in the world, and reinvented herself as an award-winning actress. Whether it was music, television, film, or business, Selena always seemed to find another way to stay relevant. But somewhere along the way, that image began to crack. Today, conversations about Selena Gomez rarely focus on her accomplishments. Instead, they're dominated by criticism of her acting, questions about her music career, endless social media drama, and a relationship that many fans simply can't seem to understand. Every interview, every public appearance, and every new project now seems to spark another wave of debate. The strange part is that none of this happened because of one career-ending scandal. There wasn't a shocking cancellation or a headline that instantly destroyed her reputation. Instead, it happened gradually. One controversy turned into another. Public sympathy slowly became skepticism. The internet that once celebrated almost everything she did now seems determined to question every move she makes. So what changed? How did one of Disney's biggest success stories become one of the most polarizing celebrities on the internet? And is Selena Gomez actually experiencing a downfall, or are millions of people simply looking at her through a very different lens than they once did? Selena Gomez's story was never supposed to end with people questioning whether she was still relevant. If anything, it looked like she was following the perfect blueprint for a lifelong career in entertainment. Long before billion-dollar brands and social media headlines, Selena was simply one of Disney Channel's brightest young stars. Starring as Alex Russo in Wizards of Waverly Place, she became one of the network's most recognizable faces. Her sarcastic humor, effortless comedic timing, and relatable personality made her a fan favorite, helping the series become one of Disney's biggest successes. For millions of kids growing up in the late 2000s, Selena wasn't just another actress. She was part of their childhood. Disney quickly realized what it had in Gomez. Beyond television, she appeared in multiple Disney films while simultaneously building a music career, allowing her to reach audiences far beyond the network. Few young stars were able to balance acting and music at the same time, and Selena looked like one of the rare exceptions who could do both. When Wizards of Waverly Place came to an end in 2012, the challenge became clear. Like many Disney stars before her, she needed to prove she could succeed outside the family-friendly image that had made her famous. Rather than immediately chasing another sitcom, Selena shifted her attention toward more mature acting roles, while continuing to develop her music career. It was a deliberate attempt to leave the Disney label behind and establish herself as a serious entertainer. Ironically, music was never meant to be the centerpiece of her career. As Selena herself has explained, singing started as something she genuinely enjoyed rather than a lifelong ambition. Acting was always her first passion, while music gradually evolved from a side project into a global career through her years with Disney. That distinction would become increasingly important as expectations around her music continued to grow. By the middle of the 2010s, Selena Gomez wasn't simply a former child star anymore. She had successfully crossed into mainstream Hollywood, and from the outside, it looked like she had mastered a transition that countless Disney alumni never could. For all of Selena Gomez's success, there was always one part of her career that divided audiences more than any other: her music. Unlike many pop stars who built their reputations around powerhouse vocals, Selena's appeal came from something different. She had a soft, breathy tone that fit radio-friendly pop, but from the very beginning, critics questioned whether her voice was strong enough to carry the kind of career she was building. It became a debate that followed her through nearly every album release and live performance. Even so, the criticism didn't stop her rise. Singles like Come and Get It, Good For You, Hands to Myself, and Lose You to Love Me became major hits, proving that commercial success didn't always depend on technical perfection. While vocal comparisons to artists like Ariana Grande or Celine Dion became common online, Selena carved out her own lane by relying on understated performances, memorable melodies, and an image that resonated with millions of listeners. Still, Selena found an audience. Her understated vocal style became part of her identity, helping her carve out a space in pop music that felt different from many of her contemporaries. Around the mid-2010s, many fans believed she was steadily improving as a performer. Even many of her critics critics acknowledged that the mid-2010s marked the strongest period of her singing career. Between 2014 and 2017, Selena appeared more confident on stage, and her live performances showed noticeable improvement. But that momentum didn't last. Following her final major solo live performance in 2019, questions about her vocals became louder than ever. The performance, which Selena later revealed was preceded by a panic attack, fueled another wave of criticism and left many wondering why she rarely performed live afterward. As the years passed, the conversation slowly shifted. Instead of discussing new music, people began debating whether Selena was still invested in being a singer at all. That wasn't helped by her own comments, where she admitted that acting had always been her first love and that music was never originally intended to become a full-time career. Those remarks gave critics another argument that even Selena herself viewed music differently than her audience did. Then came 2025. After years without a full studio album, Selena returned with a collaborative record alongside producer Blanco. Expectations were enormous. Fans hoped for a defining moment, while skeptics wondered if she could still compete in a music industry that had changed dramatically during her absence. Instead of sparking a triumphant comeback, the album generated a far more mixed conversation. Much of the public discussion centered on her relationship with Blanco rather than the music itself, reinforcing a pattern that had followed Selena for years. Her personal life was often becoming a bigger story than the songs she released. If Selena Gomez's music career sparked debate, her personal life became something even bigger. For more than a decade, it has been almost impossible to talk about Selena without someone bringing up Justin Bieber. What began as one of pop culture's biggest celebrity relationships eventually became one of its longest-running stories. Their highly publicized on and off romance dominated headlines throughout the 2010s, turning every breakup, reunion, and social media post into front-page entertainment news. Even after their relationship ended for good, the public never really moved on. Instead, the story evolved. When Justin Bieber married Hailey Bieber in 2018, fans from both sides continued comparing the two women, dissecting everything from Instagram activity to interviews and even the smallest online interactions. The internet created a rivalry that seemed impossible to escape, ensuring Selena's name remained permanently connected to a relationship that had already ended years earlier. The Bieber-Hailey drama was one of the earliest controversies that continues to follow Selena's public image to this day. That constant association had an unexpected consequence. Increasingly, Selena's own accomplishments were overshadowed by conversations about her past. New songs, interviews, and public appearances were often analyzed through the lens of Justin Bieber rather than on their own merits. Even Lose You to Love Me, one of the biggest songs of her career, became widely viewed as another chapter in the Bieber narrative, reinforcing the idea that audiences were just as interested in the story behind the music as the music itself. The pattern didn't end there. Even with the release of her latest album, much of the online conversation quickly shifted back to Justin Bieber, with fans revisiting their past relationship instead of focusing on the music itself. Rather than celebrating a new chapter in her life, public conversations repeatedly circled back to the same relationship that had ended years earlier. For Selena Gomez, that may have become one of the biggest challenges of her career. No matter how many successful businesses she built, television projects she starred in, or albums she released, a significant part of the public continued to view her through the lens of her relationship from the past. Over time, Justin Bieber stopped being just an ex-boyfriend. In the eyes of many fans and critics alike, he became an inseparable part of Selena Gomez's legacy. As Selena Gomez's career continued to evolve, another challenge emerged, one that extended far beyond music or acting. Her health became part of her public identity. Over the years, Selena has been open about living with lupus, an autoimmune disease that can affect multiple organs and cause chronic fatigue, inflammation, and periods of severe illness. The condition led to a kidney transplant in 2017 and forced her to step away from work on multiple occasions. For many fans, her willingness to speak openly about her struggles made her one of the most relatable celebrities in Hollywood. Instead of hiding her condition, she documented parts of the experience, allowing audiences to see a side of fame that was rarely discussed. But as time went on, those same health issues became intertwined with conversations about her career. As the years went on, viewers began noticing changes in Selena's public appearances. Her facial expressions, speaking style, and on-screen performances became frequent topics of discussion across social media. While some critics pointed toward cosmetic procedures, others believed her lupus treatments and medication could have played a significant role. Rather than reaching a clear conclusion, the discussion itself became part of Selena's public image, with every interview and appearance generating fresh speculation online. The same debate extended to her acting. Many viewers who remember the energetic, sarcastic Alex Rousseau from Wizards of Waverly Place felt that her performances in more recent projects appeared noticeably more restrained. Some viewers felt Selena's performances no longer carried the same energy or expressiveness they remembered from her Disney years. At the same time, others pointed out that her ongoing health struggles could have played a role in these changes. Her speaking voice also became a topic of conversation. Fans also noticed changes in the way Selena spoke during interviews. While some saw it as a decline, others believed her slower tone and cadence were more likely connected to the long-term effects of lupus and the treatments she'd undergone. Others disagreed entirely, arguing that criticism of her performances should remain separate from discussions about her health. That disagreement created an unusual dynamic around Selena Gomez. Every criticism of her acting or music was quickly met with another conversation about her medical condition. Some believed her health explained the changes people were noticing, while others argued it shouldn't shield her work from honest critique. By this point, the conversation had grown far beyond Selena's performances. It had become a broader debate about where audiences should draw the line between fair criticism and empathy for someone living with a serious chronic illness. While Selena Gomez's music and acting careers continued to face growing scrutiny, one part of her empire was moving in the opposite direction. In 2020, she launched Rare Beauty, a cosmetics brand built around a message of self-acceptance rather than unattainable perfection. Instead of competing solely on celebrity status, the company positioned itself as a brand that encouraged confidence, mental health awareness, and inclusivity. It was a strategy that resonated with consumers, quickly turning Rare Beauty into one of the most successful celebrity beauty brands in the industry. Ironically, as debates surrounding Selena's entertainment career intensified, Rare Beauty became the one area where criticism was noticeably quieter. While opinions on Selena's music and acting have often been divided, her beauty brand has consistently earned strong praise from consumers. That success fundamentally changed Selena's public image. She was no longer viewed exclusively as a singer or actress. She had become a businesswoman leading a company capable of competing with brands launched by some of the biggest celebrities in the world. For many observers, Rare Beauty represented the strongest evidence that Selena's influence had expanded well beyond Hollywood. At the same time, that business success created an interesting contrast. While Rare Beauty continued to grow, conversations surrounding Selena herself became increasingly centered on everything except her entrepreneurial achievements. Headlines focused on social media controversies, old relationships, public appearances, and criticism of her performances rather than the company she had built. That contrast became even more apparent following the release of Selena's most recent music, as conversations once again focused more on her personal life than the work itself. Instead of strengthening her reputation as a recording artist, the album generated conversations about her personal life, leaving Rare Beauty as arguably the most consistently successful part of her professional portfolio. In many ways, Rare Beauty became Selena Gomez's reinvention. It proved she didn't have to rely entirely on hit singles or blockbuster roles to remain influential, yet it also highlighted a growing reality. The business continued to flourish, while public discussion about Selena herself became increasingly driven by controversy rather than accomplishment, a pattern that would become even more apparent in the next chapter of her story. If there was one factor that accelerated the shift in public opinion, it wasn't a movie or an album. It was social media. Unlike many celebrities who maintain a carefully controlled online presence, Selena Gomez has always been unusually open with her audience. That authenticity helped her build one of the largest followings on Instagram, but it also meant every comment, live stream, interview, and TikTok quickly became part of a much larger conversation. As her fame grew, so did the scrutiny. Before long, the conversation had changed entirely. Instead of focusing on Selena's latest projects, the internet became far more interested in the controversies that surrounded them. Whether it was old comparisons to Hailey Bieber, reactions to interviews, or debates surrounding her latest public appearances, the internet seemed far more interested in the headlines than the projects she was promoting. Then came Benny Blanco. When Selena confirmed their relationship, many fans expected the discussion to settle after the initial surprise. Instead, it became one of the most polarizing chapters of her career. But the criticism wasn't really about Benny's music career. Instead, it was fueled by the couple's public appearances, where every interview, gesture, and interaction became a source of online debate. Clips circulated across social media with viewers dissecting everything from awkward jokes to comments that some interpreted as dismissive or disrespectful towards Selena. One interview became especially controversial. After Benny made comments about celebrity crushes, the clip spread rapidly across social media, sparking criticism from fans who felt his remarks crossed a line. Another recurring theme was the couple's playful banter, which some audiences viewed as harmless while others interpreted as uncomfortable. Regardless of intent, each viral clip added another layer to the growing perception that the relationship was doing little to improve Selena's public image. Instead of marking a fresh chapter in Selena's career, her return to music became closely tied to her relationship with Benny, with much of the public conversation focusing on the couple rather than the songs. Rather than focusing solely on the songs, much of the public conversation centered on the fact that the album was created alongside Benny Blanco. Instead of debating the production or the lyrics, audiences questioned whether the project was driven by artistic ambition or by the publicity surrounding the relationship. That perception, fair or not, overshadowed much of the music's release. Perhaps the biggest change wasn't any single controversy. It was the way people responded to them. Earlier in her career, Selena Gomez often received the benefit of the doubt. By the mid-2010s, that goodwill appeared to be fading. Online discussions became more skeptical, every interview was analyzed frame by frame, and every public appearance generated a new wave of commentary. There wasn't one defining scandal that changed Selena's public image overnight. Instead, it was shaped by countless smaller moments that gradually accumulated over time. No single interview, social media post, or relationship ended her popularity. Instead, they combined to create an entirely different public perception. One where the conversation surrounding Selena Gomez was increasingly driven by controversy instead of accomplishment. So, is Selena Gomez actually experiencing a downfall? This wasn't the story of someone suddenly losing their talent or watching their career collapse because of a single scandal. Instead, public attention gradually drifted away from Selena's work and toward everything happening around it. For years, Selena's acting, music, relationships, and business ventures reinforced one another. Today, those same pillars appear to be moving in different directions. Rare Beauty continues to thrive, but discussions about her music often revolve around whether she's still committed to being a recording artist. Her acting performances are increasingly debated online, and interviews tend to generate headlines that overshadow the projects they're meant to promote. The focus has slowly drifted from what Selena creates to how the internet reacts to her. That shift in public perception also appeared to influence the reception of Selena's most recent album, with much of the conversation extending far beyond the music itself. Rather than becoming the defining comeback many expected, much of the public conversation centered on Benny Blanco, her relationship, and comparisons to earlier stages of her career. Even when discussing new music, audiences repeatedly found themselves revisiting old narratives instead of embracing a new chapter. Perhaps that's the biggest challenge Selena Gomez faces today. Expectations have become almost impossible to satisfy. Every new project is measured against Disney nostalgia, her biggest chart successes, the Justin Bieber era, or the enormous commercial success of Rare Beauty. Instead of evaluating each release on its own, audiences often compare it to a version of Selena that exists in their memory. Ultimately, this wasn't a story of a dramatic downfall. Instead, it was a gradual shift in cultural relevance, as the conversation surrounding Selena slowly began to overshadow the work that made her famous. Selena Gomez remains one of the most recognizable celebrities in the world, yet the conversations surrounding her no longer revolve around what made her famous in the first place. They revolve around controversy, relationships, and public perception. Maybe that's what makes her story so unusual. Selena Gomez hasn't disappeared from the spotlight, she's still everywhere. The difference is that the spotlight itself has changed, and so has the way people look at her. Selena Gomez's story isn't one of a celebrity who suddenly lost everything. There wasn't one career-ending scandal or one headline that changed everything overnight. Instead, her public image shifted gradually. Year after year, the conversations surrounding her moved further away from her work and closer to the controversies, relationships, and endless debates that seemed to follow her. Today, Selena remains one of the most recognizable entertainers in the world. Rare Beauty continues to thrive, she still commands a massive global audience, and every new project instantly becomes a headline. Yet for many people, the discussion is no longer centered on her music or acting. It's about her public image, her social media presence, and whether she can recapture the admiration she once enjoyed almost universally. Maybe that's what makes her story so unusual. The fame never disappeared. The influence never disappeared. What changed was the way people perceived her. Whether Selena Gomez is truly experiencing a downfall or simply navigating the harsh reality of modern celebrity culture is ultimately up to the audience to decide. But one thing is certain in today's world: public perception can rise and fall much faster than a career ever does. If you enjoyed this deep dive, subscribe to Fame Planet for more stories that go beyond the headlines. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.